Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, advocated for the use case of XRP as a bridge currency, but without ever once mentioning XRP or Ripple. And I'm sitting here wondering, as he's describing this terrible problem of converting from one fiat currency to another, as he's describing how terrible this problem is and how it shouldn't exist in 2022 and there should be a solution, I'm sitting here wondering, does he know that the problem's been solved? Does he know that Ripple already did this? Now, mind you, yes, there needs to be a whole lot more rollout. You need to have greater liquidity in crypto space in general, but does he really not know that the solution that he's asking for has already occurred? It makes me wonder. Maybe he legitimately doesn't. I don't know. But it's just astonishing because, like, when you're talking about BlackRock, it's a freaking gigantic firm. And so there's this clip that's been circulating heavily today throughout the XRP community, largely on Twitter, which is where like a ton of XRP holders happen to live, including myself. And yeah, of course, Twitter is a cesspool, but that's why I just only engage with people talking about crypto and XRP, almost exclusively XRP, actually. And you can always block random people that are, blithering idiots. But this clip, and I'm going to share with you I actually transcribed part of it, heavily circulating. And I'll say this, regardless of whether or not Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, knows that Ripple and XRP exist and understands it. Like, it's more vindication that not only is this a massive problem, but that the solution is really worth something and it's worth a lot. And the solution requires XRP. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, worth mentioning here that BlackRock is the largest financial asset firm on the entire planet. At the time that I'm recording this, this is the most recent figure I could find anyway, so, it's the end of July, but on July 15th, this article came out. Titled BlackRock Assets Under Management Drops 11%, Profit Falls Amid Tough Markets. But still, BlackRock has $8.48 trillion, with a T, $8.48 trillion in assets under management. The biggest firm of its type on the entire planet. And you got the CEO talking about what XRP is being positioned to fix. It's just, goddamn. So before I share with you part of what I transcribed here in this 2-minute clip, I thought I'd share with you what Attorney Deaton had to say after watching this himself. Attorney John Deaton wrote just a little bit earlier today, this afternoon, he said, "It is midway through 2022. Since 2015, Ripple targeted XRP for cross-border payments. This clip just shows you how difficult it is to disrupt the incumbent banking and financial services industry. Warning to XRP holders, this video is painful to watch." Yeah, so as soon as I saw that, I was like, what's the painful part? So I watched it, and I can't speak for him, but to me, the painful part is that he's describing how important this problem is to solve. He doesn't recognize that there is a solution already, and that it's Ripple, a combination of Ripple and XRP. So that's the painful part for me. I'll tell you that right now. And also, I want to give credit to Kevin Cage. It looks like, based on the banner around this, he had shared it. Also, credit to XRP Snaky, who was circulating this on Twitter. And so I'm actually not sure what the date of this clip was. It could have been a little while back because they did mention something about Libra, which is not a thing anymore. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't particularly matter. The point is, this is a problem that's recognized as needing a solution. The solution is here, and it requires the asset that we hold. Is that not astonishing? Like, the opportunity we have living in 2022, it's just mind-blowing to me. But anyway, so here's the part that I can transcribe that was most relevant. So again, this is Larry Fink speaking on CNBC and describing Ripple and XRP without saying Ripple or XRP, because maybe he really doesn't know, but whatever. Here's the transcription. This is what he said verbatim. "When you think about all the people who may work in one country and send the money back home, they generally do that through organizations that charge 5% to 10%. There is a need, whether it's a Libra or something else, to democratize the exchange of foreign currencies. Today, with computers and electronic markets, it should be 10 basis points. 5 basis points. The idea around Libra, I don't think we need to create a new currency, but the technology to instantaneously calibrate the currencies, that needs to be done. So look, okay, folks, he's most of the way there. So at least he recognizes the problem. When he says 10 basis points, he's saying that 10 basis points, that's 0.1%. So he's saying that's what the fee should be, not 5% or 10%, more like 0.1%, right? Now, what he is missing here, because he says, you don't need a currency to do this, he has to know this. Because he did say, he was asked, true, and I didn't transcribe this part, he's like, so who is it that's making the money from this, from the result of these huge fees for these transactions? He says, the banks. Exactly. So how are you going to obliterate that? You need to make it so that it no longer makes sense for them to have this dormant capital, because don't forget, it's the smaller banks out there that can't, they just don't have the funds to have Nostro accounts the world over. And so the smaller banks pay their larger competitors to tap into that dormant capital so they can convert from one fiat currency to another. Yes, the small banks are paying their larger competitors. So that's why the large banks want it. They're the ones that have these Nostro accounts the world over. So if you want to fix this, you do need a currency, and it needs to not have counterparty risk, which is why if you're talking about a Libra, that doesn't really make sense. And I've talked about that before too. Now, of course, that Facebook ditched Libra, obviously. But the point is, you do need to have something that's worth something. It needs to have an open market price. And the huge part of the reason this exists is because there's a trust issue, because you can't, if you're a bank, understand there are over 11,000 financial institutions the world over. You can't know every single one of them and trust all of them. It's not reasonable, right? But if you just know that the code of XRP works and it's something that has an open market price, it can easily be used as a bridge, because then you've reduced the trust factor substantially. If you want to move from one fiat currency to another, from one country to another, well, who do you need to trust? I mean, say you're in the United States, say we didn't have the SEC wrecking what's happening here, like when on-demand liquidity actually functioned in the United States, which it doesn't today because of the SEC. But, if you wanted to move from the United States to Mexico for, so convert from the United States dollar to the Mexican peso, who do you need to trust there? An exchange, the exchange is sure. And then if they do something wrong, then you stop trusting the exchange. Okay, fine. So it's not like, I'm not saying it completely removes the need for any sort of trust, but it dramatically reduces it to the point where it no longer makes sense to be tapping into dormant capital. It just doesn't. It's way cheaper, practically free, these transactions. The solution is here. The solution is very clearly, quite obviously here. But you do need something there. You need something in between, Because otherwise, where does he magically think that the liquidity is coming to convert from one fiat currency to another? Because don't forget this either. You're not going to have markets made magically for every single pair. If you want to convert, especially if you're talking about a more exotic currency, again, you're not going to know every single financial of the 11,000 plus financial institutions on the planet. You don't need to make those markets anymore if you just need to connect to one exchange in every single planet to cover the entire globe. Or one exchange in every single country, rather, to connect the entire globe. It goes from over 11,000 to that. And it's all regulated, too. All the KYC, AML stuff, it's all still in place. So he's wrong if he thinks that you don't need something to bridge it, but he's still describing the problem, and the problem has literally been solved today. It already freaking exists. And that's what's just so amazing, seeing the adoption that's occurring. Now, Stefan Huber, member of the XRP community on Twitter, he shared the following, and I understand how frustrating it can be to see this stuff, to see these comments, and then people just either pretend that XRP doesn't exist solving this problem already, or they're actually so ignorant, despite running a firm as big as BlackRock, that they just literally are ignorant on this. But here's what Stefan Huber wrote. He said, "It's always the same desperate gesture when they try to avoid mentioning Ripple. There would have to be some kind of technology in between, like a kind of bridge, something that could exchange currencies for currency. Some kind of bridge. Something like that would be fantastic." Exactly. And so it's not lost on me. Like, I understand how ridiculous this is. But again, that's why I go back to, as frustrating as that may be, to hear somebody like this and somebody of such stature and intelligence say something like this and not mention XRP. I just sit here recognizing, hey, this is the only solution humans have devised, and it requires XRP specifically. There is no other cryptocurrency being positioned for this. So in that sense, I don't really care as much. Yes, it's kind of annoying and stupid. And by the way, I'll mention this too. And I already covered this, so I'm not going to go in great detail. But worth mentioning, since we're talking about on-demand liquidity and XRP, there's another company called FOMO which I, like I said, reported on, and they're jumping on board. And this is they're Singapore-based and they're big. You keep seeing like, and actually I'll just say this again. I covered this in my very last video because I was talking about the Ripple's Q2 XRP markets report, and like on-demand liquidity flows year over year for Q2 over Q2, the previous one, up 9-fold, 9x in terms of actual adoption, real world usage of XRP. So you sit here wondering, it's like, might the rest of the world figure this out one day and XRP be worth substantially more? Well, I think the answer is a clear yes at this point. There's no way to know for sure. No, I'm not saying there's no risk in holding XRP, but damn, it actually does something. It actually works. This is why Ripple keeps getting more and more customers the world over, despite the nonsense that's happening with the SEC. The rest of the world doesn't matter. They're just like, oh yeah, it works. Okay, I'm adopting the technology, which is what you'd expect for new technology that is game-changing. And this is. Really grinds my gears though, folks. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.